You know what you need to do if you want to get into promotion or if you want to be respected in a game in a field that you're already in, which is that of promotion? You want me to give you some really good advice? Quit doing weird stuff. Quit being a weirdo. Nobody is flocking to weirdos. Nowhere in the world. The coolest kid in class isn't cool because he's a weirdo. And you go, what's like about him? You go, man, he's a weirdo. I'm going to hang out with him. You don't hang out with him because he's a weirdo. So everything just keeps on getting weirder and weirder in this space. And if you're one of the people that's helping funnel that, to fund that, or to push that stuff, somebody yesterday thought it was a good idea to steal UFC artwork. And I think that's very clever. It shows that you would have some level of skill. You're counterfeiting. I'm into it so far. But they used that hack to put out a fake announcement about a fight that we're really close to having a real announcement for. Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman. And when the counterfeiter came out, how are we to know? How are we to know what came from the organization and is the real McCoy versus what came from a basement of a dude who lives with his mom? It's hard. Now, in the counterfeit from dude's mother, basement, at home, living, decided to say it was going to be at welterweight, and that was the tell. Because now you're being weird. If they had done it at a catchweight, we would know that it was counterfeit, because that would be weird. Kamaru Usman, Khamzat Chimaev, this appears to be very real. This is an idea that just won't go away, to the extent that we're also been made aware that Usman knows he's going to have to leave 170 or stop pursuing this fight. He has now left 170. And he hasn't shown us any signs that he's leaving the fight. Now, Usman thought he could leave 170 and come up to 181. He thought he could go to 183. Which Usman saw as a byproduct of a couple fold. First off, I'm the smaller guy. I don't want to come all the way up to him. So let's do it at a weight where we both have to struggle a little bit. This was the idea. This was the elbow and the wink that Kamaru, when he walked into the boardroom, thought he was going to be able to get away with. Instead, the other side pushed back and said, hey, I don't know anything about weight advantages. I don't know anything about pulling and coming. But I don't do catch weights. And they both decided to play this word game. 185 is too big. That's a game. Catch weight is something I don't do. That's a game. The real language, if you speak fight language, is I will clear a spot and I will give you what you want, which is Khamzat Chimaev. In return, you will understand explicitly this is the number one contenders bout, which means if you beat Khamzat Chimaev, the guy that you're calling out, I cannot imagine for any reason you would call somebody out unless you thought you could beat him. If you can do to him what you think, which is beat him, you will be the number one contender. My champion in that division is named Israel Adesanya. And that is the game that these two sides decided to play. If at some point Kamaru Usman walked in and said, hey, I want to take on what believe to be your top contender, and I'm going to bring him down. I'm going to beat him, and the whole world is going to want to see it. I've been having to hear about this guy for 3 years when I was the champion and unbeaten in the weight class. He's now going to find out just how hard it is to stop me. But if he would have said anything about wanting to be the number one contender, it would have ruined the whole deal because he doesn't want to be the number one contender, only because out of a respect that he has for a fellow countryman in Adesanya, which as far as excuse making goes, is the single greatest excuse I've ever heard. I think that we all understand it. But there must be a remedy. Right? We either don't do this fight, we don't bring you to this weight class, or you got to give me a remedy and I can't seem to think what it is. There's rumors that we're taking Adesanya out of the weight class. There's rumors that we're going to take Adesanya in August, put him in a main event for the title, but bump him up to 205 pounds. That it's going to be Adesanya versus Hill. But what if it doesn't go Izzy's way? First off, what if that rumor's even true? Second off, what if it doesn't go Izzy's way like the last time he went to 205? Can't he just come home? Well, if he just comes on back home, but there you are with the belt, aren't we in the same problem? So the person that did the counterfeit and the person that slipped it out onto the internet, they did everything right. They stole all of the right graphics. They did everything as it should be done. They made a mistake. They said it would be at 170 pounds. The problem with 185 is a victor would put one half of that equation into a match that he does not want. The problem at 170 pounds is it would put the victor into a situation where they become a number one contender, where we already have one named Colby Covington, and we even have a backup one named Belal Muhammad, which means we don't need a one of you, and we don't need a one of you. Other than that, the counterfeit, the artwork, the way you slipped it out, pretty good.